What's going on, everybody?
And welcome to another episode of the Adult Deck Podcast, the place where you come learn how to stack your cards against the game of life. I am your host, Ronnie Scott.
Some graphics for that.
Just stacking cards.
I mean, we got new graphics up here.
Yeah.
Adult Deck, and then Scott Enterprises down there.
Right. So we're upgrading a little bit.
You trying to get better.
Yeah. So as always, I'm your host, Ronnie Scott, and I'm here with my husband and co-host and IT director and
all those good titles.
Peter Scott.
What's up, y'all?
And today we are going to just talk about a show that we just recently watched, Woke on Hulu.
You know, I was gonna say no heavy topics, but Woke is kind of heavy.
Yeah, it dances between the heavy line and then the funny comedic line to relieve it.
Yeah,
so,
facts.
So first season, all of it is on Hulu.
Go check that out.
Please go check it out. It is such a good show.
Support black artists. This is has a plethora of black people in this show.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, Woke is about a cartoonist, Keith, who at first in the first episode everything was beautiful, sunshine and roses, everything's great. He has no issues, no qualms in life.
He's about to get a contract signed, about to do things as a graphic artist, doing comic strips. And
his mindset is just yes, there are black issues, but those black issues don't affect me. So it's kind of off his radar.
Yeah. Or it's in the shadow.
Yeah.
It's it's there, but it's not. It's I ain't going to rock the boat.
Mm-hmm.
So.
One of those people.
Oh, man.
However.
Life hits you in the face.
Oh, man. Or slams you to the ground in this
case.
So before we get into this, I want to put out a little trigger warning. It does have to do with... The show does talk about anxiety and police brutality.
And the different aspects of dealing with it, not just as a black person, but as the different communities in the black community itself. Yeah. So it's you have a quote unquote hood rat character in this show. And, he sees it one way, and then you have Keith himself who never dealt with it. And then they have a white roommate, too. So he got to put his 2 cents in it. So
but I love how they handle all of the topics. They make it very real, very personalized.
But this also touched on the aspect of pseudo famous / famous people dealing with this and have to talk about it in their work or not talk about it however they feel they want to tackle it. Or it also touches on how as an artist people may interpret your artistry
in different
differently
ways
than what you intended it to.
Yes, that is a recurring theme in the show.
So it has a lot of layers.
Oh yeah,
has a lot. It's an onion. It's definitely an onion.
Definitely an onion. So before we get too deep into it, I just want to put that trigger warning out. If you're not comfortable listening to us talk about that, please feel free to skip the rest of this episode.
Yeah, for sure. And then go watch the show because at least they balance it out with some comedy.
Oh yeah.
They know better than to just
keep doom and gloom. Okay, so Woke centers around a cartoonist named Keith. Again, he was asleep in the beginning of the. I mean, I don't know.
Called Woke.
I don't know how else to explain it. He was asleep, mentally, I guess, not really aware.
For those just listening to the audio, y'all may hear some slight ASMR because it's a morning for us, and I'm sipping on my tea.
So
also check out the video because Ron might be rocking something new.
Oh yeah, I look good.
Check out the producer.
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into that because it'll distract us. But I love my new haircut. So Keith. So Keith was mentally asleep.
Yeah.
He was in the first episode, I think he has an interaction with Ayana, who is another character on the show, part of the friend group. Not
at
yet.
this point.
Not yet.
She is a newspaper. What are they called? Producers, directors, whatever. She's a newspaper editor. There you go. That's the word.
And she has like different connections, things
Right.
like that.
But one of the things she's reviewing is his comic strip, Toast and Butter.
Yep.
And she approached them when? What was it? Was it before the party or just randomly on the road?
Just randomly. They were in like a store, like a record store or something.
Okay. Yeah. And, she approached him talking about his Butter and Toast comic strip and how that reflected the black plight with butter getting too dark and have to scrape off the blackness.
Yeah.
It was a whole thing, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, yeah,
But
or
it's not about that.
it could be just about butter and toast.
He's like, what is my responsibility? Why is it my responsibility? He said that. He was
Yes.
like, why is it, my responsibility to talk about the whole race and
the black
be
plight
in
a 4-panel comic strip.
Yeah, essentially. Like, so he's just like, at this point, he was just like, it's not really racial. Like, it's not my responsibility to be the face of black people, essentially.
Right.
Which has some truth to it, but also you kind of do.
Yeah, it's tricky. Like, once you have a platform like that, you kind of, as a voice in the black community with that platform, you kind of have that kind of responsibility to touch on it in some point or fashion, because you may be reaching people somebody else can't.
Yeah.
Or you might be reaching someone who doesn't watch the news, or you might be reaching someone just like Keith who might be a little asleep. So it's tricky, man.
It is,
because like even in the adult day, we kind of had to see how deep we want to go into that black plight, and like even the shootings, even the deaths. It's like, we're kind of a lifestyle podcast. Do we want to touch on that? How is that risky?
It's like, it is our lifestyle, but for me, I see enough of it everywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's like, we don't hide the fact that we're two black people, we deal with these things, that like, we don't hide it. It's not like we're shying away from it and being like, no, our stuff's not racial. Like, no, a heck of a lot of it is racial, but I wanted to present our information in a way that wasn't all like doom and gloom. And I feel like, especially towards the like last 3 episodes of season 1, if you haven't seen season 1, please go back and
check it out.
Listen to the adult deck. But the last 3 episodes were tough episodes. Like,
there was a lot going on.
It was a whole lot going on.
We delved away from the purpose of this podcast, so
and more into just like our emotions and venting and things like that.
We had to revamp that.
So
Keith is trying to figure out the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like you were approached by this black chick who thought your comic was about one thing. You realize you're really not that deep, and you're not really giving out a message. So what kind of are you doing?
Or he didn't feel like he had to give out a message.
Or he didn't feel like he had to give out a message.
Because it didn't affect him
personally.
Right. However, in the next episode, Keith is minding his business like usual black men are.
So, Keith has this, I guess, meet and greet about to happening. So he's going around his neighborhood, and the local college campus, putting up flyers, spreading the word about this meeting, see if he can get people there, make sure some of his fans know. And while he's on I think it was a college campus, at a bulletin board, hanging up one of his last flyers, just basking in his glory.
He was feeling like he was on top of the world.
Life happened.
Yes. So, as always, the cops had a case of mistaken identity.
Yeah. They didn't really look hard.
They said he fit the description, quote unquote.
From the back, apparently. Because at this point, he was facing the bulletin boards. The cops were behind him.
They say he fit the description and thus proceeded to rough him up, slam him to the ground, make a big scene out of it, guns drawn, everything. He had a stapler in his hand, and they're like, drop the weapon. He's like, it's a stapler, y'all. Like,
drop the
chill.
weapon, he says.
So So like this. Oh, and then Keith's white friend,
his roommate
Gunther.
Gunther, he was in the area, hanging out with Keith, going their separate ways while he's doing his own thing. Keith's hanging up flyers,
and he just so happened to be around.
He saw that it was Keith who was on the ground. Everybody is around him, a plethora of colored people around him, just with their phones out and cameras
recording
out.
It.
Granted, that could be you too if you want to step up and try to do something. But Gunther,
using
in all of his
privilege
and glory, tries to help.
Yeah.
His intentions were good.
Yes.
He is trying to help.
And so Gunther like gets in between, Keith and the police and is like, y'all like chill out, calm down, what's going on, yada yada yada. And then that's kind of when the police were like, oh, like let's let him off him a little bit.
Like, I'm sorry, but it's not just that. It's Keith is on the ground watching this all happen.
Yeah.
And Gunther, while he's trying to get between them, he is also threatening the police.
Yes, he's like pushing them around, shoving them like physically.
And as soon like
pushing police,
they made it clear. As soon as Gunther walked up, the cop put away his gun.
Yep.
Like.
Yep.
And Keith is watching this all happen, and you can see the confusion. I love this actor.
He is such a good actor.
He's been in a lot of things. I got introduced to him in New Girl, but he is a great actor in general.
Yes, he is.
But you can see all the confusion, anger, sadness, all of it on his face when he's watching this happen. So time goes by, and he's like, the cop lets him up. It's like, sorry, we had you fit the description. And he was like, what's the description? And the cop literally just said 6 foot.
6 foot.
And that's all he said.
But like, Keith is not 6 feet.
He's probably being gracious
5'7", 5'8".
on a good day. I'll give him 5'9". He's not 6 foot, y'all. Like, skipping ahead a little bit. He approaches the person they were looking for. He doesn't approach him, but the person they were looking for approached him, and he was like, man, I saw what happened. That's real messed up. They were looking for me though, right?
And then proceeds to rob Keith.
I love all the nuances in the show.
Like, so great. And that's what I'm saying. Like, although the show has so many heavy topics, it's like they bring a
realism. Like, this is a complete and total world. Like, it's not just about Keith and what he's dealing with. It's not just about the fact that the cops he was facing might have been racist and all of this, that, and the other. But also, they had a legitimate reason to go after this black guy who was robbing people at this place where you were because you just got robbed by him. Yeah. It's like, the cops were messed up, but also they were still looking for a criminal.
Yeah, but they're messed up and thinking that all black men are criminals.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Very much so.
That's the problem here.
But it's like there's so many layers to this because like what at this point after everything Keith's been through to get robbed by the person that started all of this, it's like, how do you feel after that? What do you do in that situation?
Say? So this encounter with the police has essentially woke Keith up. He's no longer like the black plight doesn't apply to me, although I'm black. Like, so he's kind of like all that out the window.
And what was it, 2 days before he talked to his girlfriend, or 3 days? So
because he didn't know how to process it.
Yes, so that's where I was going. Okay. Like he it took him like legitimately 3 days to stop having panic attacks and anxiety and trying to even get to a sense of normalcy again to even try to talk about this. Because like right after it happened, he went home. He's trying to relax on the couch. His homeboy walks in and is trying to figure out what's wrong with Keith.
What happened? And
Keith breaks it down. And what's the dude's name?
Clovis.
Clovis.
Yeah, Clovis.
Hood rat Clovis. It's like, dude, that's all?
You just woke. Like,
that happens every Tuesday on Block A at 5 o'clock. What do you mean? Like,
this doesn't happen to kids that's like 12. Like,
and he has a moment. Clovis is like, oh snap, you finally woke up.
Like, and that.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
but it's like because like sorry.
Go ahead. No. Stop saying sorry. You're good.
Because it's like, just as a black man in America, like, I was raised in a pretty decent neighborhood and appreciative living style and all of that. So I get where Keith's side's coming from. It's like, I've never experienced any of this. Like, this is brand new to me. I heard it's happening, but I never realized how traumatic it could be. And most of the time, people don't walk away from this situation.
No.
But I also get Clovis because, yeah, I grew up in a great environment, but that was thanks to my parents. Outside of my house, it was not the best area growing up. I'll say that. So I've seen it. I've seen the thefts. I've been in the conversations about who shot who last Tuesday. I've also been in a situation where people have been slammed to the ground for not knowing. I was in a situation where in Pennsylvania, we got pulled over, and the only people that were questioned was the Asian and the black guy in the back of the car.
Yeah.
Like 2 white people in the front, great
Driving.
people, friends, but it was the black and the Asian guy in the back of the car that got questioned. That was told to show hands. It was like,
yeah,
I'm not driving though.
Yeah, and it's like, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that, like, and I say this all the time, like, colonizers could have left us where we was, minding our business, taking care of ourselves. You bring people's ancestors over to a new country because you don't want to fucking work and do it and till the land. And then you brought us over here and then keep being like, oh, but y'all are bad. Y'all are second class.
Go
y'all
home.
like,
if you don't like being here, you should leave. But I digress.
Yeah.
So Keith. Clovis has this, you finally woke. And he's teasing him about it. And Keith is not, at this moment, this is like day one.
Yeah.
He is not having it.
No.
He is having a full mental breakdown right now. He has a girlfriend who he sleeps with and wakes up with, a lawyer who's trying to help him make sure that as he's doing this comic strip, all the legal stuff is taken care of. He hasn't spoken to her.
In 2 days.
She is a beautiful black lady.
Yeah.
But he hasn't even approached her, tried to talk to her about this, try to relieve some of this tension, because as a black man, how do you really speak about that? Yeah. Like, how do you were brought to your knees and made to feel like nothing. You had
in front
no
of
power.
everybody.
You're on camera, you're kind of pseudo famous, like everybody kind of knows your name. So how do you really talk about that? So he ghosted.
Yeah.
3 days.
He didn't know how to process it.
He ghosted. Like, he's having this whole moment. He ends up getting invited to this party.
That's a little bit later because Ayana invited him to the party.
Fill in the blanks.
Okay, so Keith. So one of the great things that I really enjoy about this show is that, like, since Keith is a cartoonist, the way his mind like processes all this is through like inanimate objects coming to life.
Yes.
Like, so like there's this one scene like right after everything happened.
He goes to that convenience store.
Yes.
Man. Yeah, so he goes to this convenience store. It's hilariously weird. And he's trying to like look for something to drink to calm down, get himself together. Like, even a little intoxication if he needs it.
Look, sometimes
he starts hearing voices.
So he looked around like, who?
Looks to the left.
Who's
looks
talking
to the right.
To me?
And then he looks at the 40 ounce. And man,
hilarious.
These 40 ounces are hilarious.
And they're just kind of like, I mean, essentially telling him the same stuff that his friend is going to tell him later on. He's like, man, you just woke. Like, come on now.
Calm down.
Go ahead and grab one of us. We for you and your people.
One of them is voiced by Eddie Griffin.
Hilarious.
And the other is voiced by Nicole Byer. Like, they are hilarious. It's like, what do you mean? Oh, you just, man, just pick me up, have a little drink of me. You'll be fine. Just go back and after you get some liquid courage, go back and talk to the officer. See what happens. You never know. It's all right.
Man, folks been using us for years to get through this. Like,
he's like,
good.
for years?
You just one of us now.
Man, you just don't worry. You just a little woke. He leaves behind, goes out to the convenience store, and then boom, a trash can starts talking to him.
Yep. And he was like, nah.
Man, don't listen to them. But trash can is voiced by Cedric the
Entertainer.
I love it. It's awesome.
Hilarious.
It's awesome.
Yo, and the trash can is even more like, dude, chill out.
What do you mean?
Like, he's just like real rough and abrasive with it. He's just like,
calm down. Go back to work.
Chill
get your stuff done. You're fine. Go away.
So then after that he goes.
But it's even funnier because in the real world, he is talking back to these inanimate objects.
Yes.
And everybody's just like,
like
who the
crazy
guy? Sir, calm down.
Chill out. Yes. Man, so later on, after he's kind of like deal with it a little bit, calm down a little bit.
Just a tad.
Oh, trust me, he is not healed from this. But then he has his press conference for his new comic strip coming out. As if the 40s and the trash can talking wasn't enough, he starts to get heckled by his own creation, Butter and Toast.
But before that, he realizes that his nice two little white producer assistants people has decided to lighten his complexion.
Oh, yeah, on his promo photos. His promo photos.
Boy, homie is as dark as me. He looks like he has white face on.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He looks like he really ashy in the face.
Yes. So the media already was trying to like lighten up his character, his personification.
They don't even say that he's a black artist.
No.
Like, he's been confronted by people that's like, oh,
I didn't know you were black.
You're the creator of Butter and Toast. I didn't know you were black.
And then to go to his press conference and have his headshot that's plastered everywhere be lightened through
it looks like he ain't put
Photoshop.
on lotion that day, man. It is rough.
Look. Like, it was like the equivalent of your knee ash on your face. Like, it was horribly done.
It was bad.
Horribly edited.
He was not glowing that day.
No. So he gets there to his press conference, and then he's like, of course, again, he's still struggling with his anxiety. So, like, the anxiety of having to perform and be out in front of people, plus this traumatic event that has happened to him over the last week, he loses it on stage and just like tears everything down. Essentially
ruined his career.
Yeah. Ruined his career.
He broke down. He had a whole mental breakdown, like
in front of like thousands of people.
Butter and Toast started to talk to him. He started getting mad at his picture. he ripped, like she said, he ripped everything down. And then you got the black newspaper lady that confronted him last time.
Oh, Ayana.
She's sitting in the crowd and she's just like,
she's chilling. She's like,
I'm proud of you, man. Show them white
down
people.
with the establishment.
And
like,
now he's just like, damn, my career out the window. Sometimes, man, y'all just need to take a day. Just do nothing but cope.
Yeah, we know, like, real life, we all need a coping day, and we all need self-care, and I am going to take a moment to talk about my friend Saint Haley. She has started her own healthcare self-care company. She has bath bombs, like body scrubs, shea butter, shirts. I don't know what fabric like she got to make this shirt, but this shirt is so soft. Like, I love it, and I love the design down the side. Also, I used her shea butter. Oh, you can't see it, but
we'll try to work it out.
So I used her shea butter, y'all. This is literally the lightest shea butter I have ever used, like ever. Like, when I went to go pick it up, I was like, shit. You sent me an empty container? But no, it's just that light.
Painted the inside. It had a big.
So check her out on Instagram at Saint Haley and Company on Instagram, y'all. Trust me, you will not regret it. It is so good, and I love it. So yes, back to woke. Sorry, I just had to put that in there.
Yeah, sometimes you need to take a day. But he didn't. And so he ruined his career.
Just trying to keep going.
He's still on this whole tumbling downhill thing, and he ends up at this. He got invited to this artist gala by Ayana after that whole situation
to try to help him get his career back on track.
Right. So, right, because he realized he ruined his career, he went to Ayana because he first went to his company, tried to do damage control. Didn't work. The person he talked to was an Asian, another foreigner. And they had a heart-to-heart real quick, and he was like, dude, we have to struggle to get here already, and you messed this up.
Yeah.
She was like, I was rooting for you. You could have been something great, but then you had to be woke.
Man, and then even his friend, we might have to do a part 2.
Oh, we're definitely going to have to do a part two. Well, we're not finishing this.
But even his friend, Cletus, the other black friend, Clovis. He, even his friend.
Cletus is carnage.
Clovis. Clovis was like, when he was talking to him about it, he was like, man, like, Keith was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to face these people? And Clovis was like, just push it to the back of your head. You just got like, grin and bear it. Grin and bear it. And young. This is what I love the most about this show. Because, like, I feel like a lot of times people be like, all right, that's a black person. Like, but people don't realize that there are different communities of black people in the black community as a whole, just like there are different Asian communities and
just like different white communities.
Different white communities.
Everybody is different, even in their own sector of differences. Like I'm more of a Keith type person.
Yeah.
Like I never put it into words, but when Clovis said, just push it to the back of your head and maintain, that was me a year ago when I was holding down an entire monitoring team by myself. I didn't realize what I was doing, but that was definitely because
literally. What else can you do?
What else is there to do? They're going to, I have a conscience. I'm not just going to leave people hanging. They're going to take advantage of that. And then they're not going to, give you the incentives to keep going or reward you for your competence.
Right.
So it's like all you got to do is keep your head down, maintain.
And then I feel like I feel like you're more of a but I was about to say I feel like you're more of a Clovis where you just like push to the back burner. I got to focus on other stuff.
Clovis,
this is
yes,
happening.
That's what I meant. Yes.
This is happening, but I'm gonna just push it away. And I'm more like a Kiefer, like, no, I gotta talk about all the stuff that's happening to me. I gotta get it out. Like,
that's what I meant. Yeah, I'm more of a Clovis because like I got money to make. I ain't got the energy to freak out and do all of this stuff. Like,
and me, I need to talk about it. I need to get it out. I can't just push it to the back burner and just be like,
and that's like, and we're married, dude. We're two different black people just in that aspect.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and like, it's just like, but again, that's why I love this show. I gotta find out who writes this show because it's just like, and it's all the little things and all the little nuances to it. Like, I'm trying to think. Like just everything
but even the white people in the show, like you have Gunther, like ride or die, like for his boys always every day,
but he sometimes still like doesn't quite get it.
He's trying to get there. Like his whole character is him trying to understand and trying to get it. Like once Clovis broke down that you probably shouldn't have intervened. Well, it's good that you intervened with the cops, but you're still not understanding why this is bad. Like Gunther said he felt threatened, and he's like, "You ain't get put on the ground. The gun was put away when you showed up. Like what?" But then Gunther goes off to this party with Keith, and he has an interaction with these lovely two couples.
Oh, I was gonna, I was gonna make the like all the friendships in the show the part 2.
Okay.
Because I really want to talk in and dive deep into that part, especially with Clovis and Ayana.
So Gunther has this moment with his two couples, and he's struggling with that, and he's trying to come to God moment. And it's like, am I okay with this? Is this wrong? Is this against me? I should be okay with this. But it's just, and then you have the cop and how he like they had a whole publicity stunt with Keith,
and that let's end
on that.
So okay,
we'll end there.
I want to end on the sloth thing. Was it a sloth or koala? In the like second to last episode, the bus incident, where The crazy man on the bus.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go for it.
Okay,
It'll probably
first,
jog my mind.
so first we're gonna talk about what did you just say?
The cops.
The cops
and the whole publicity stunt.
Yes. So a lot of times, I feel like people take, or institutions. I'm not going to say people, institutions.
Oh man, and this
marketing teams.
This was really triggering for me because of especially what just happened with this last court trial and Breonna Taylor.
Yes. So Keith, while he's like going through this metamorphosis, essentially, is trying to use art as his outlet and process it that way. Mm-hmm. So he made a cartoon of a black man being slammed to the ground by police.
Mm-hmm. That started making its rounds.
And it started making its rounds, started getting around. People started to see it. So the police first saw it. And the cop that legitimately had his knee in Keith's back was...
His son saw it.
And
his son, who had this image of his cop dad being this hero, being this righteous man, is now questioning, is my dad the bad guy? Like, this is wrong. This shouldn't have happened. My dad did this. And he's mad at Keith for that.
Yes. So the cop is mad at Keith because his son saw the comic. So then, because it's already out in the open, they try to like flip the publicity and make it seem like, oh, this cop apologized. He's a good guy. So Keith and the cop had a meetup. They had a meetup. And at first, when Keith
having two beers, the cop and like that was the whole thing. They're having a conversation over beer, and they're gonna forgive each other.
But then the cops were gonna pay him for it, and that was Keith's dilemma. He was like, do I compromise my character for this payout, knowing that I just lost my job and I need somewhere to live and stay and sustain myself, or do I stay true to my values?
But they also wasn't 100% with Keith and what he had to do in this situation.
Nah,
Keith just thought he was gonna come and have a serious conversation about what happened, about police brutality, the plight of the black man, all of this good jazz. And really, it was 5 minutes, 10 minutes in front of the camera, making it look like they were talking. Keith tried to have some conversation with it, and the cop just basically brushed it off and changed the subject.
That frustrated me so bad. So like every time, so Keith like came, he was like, I got index cards, like we're gonna talk about this.
And he was like, oh, I never thought about that. Whoop. Oh.
Like never said sorry, never was like my bad, never took any onus for what he did. He was
like one of the things on the card is why does civilians have to practice self-control in the situation with cops when cops who are trained for this don't? And he was like, that's a good point. Whoop.
Literally. Next. It was
like everything people wanted to talk about, just like it in real life, and it just gets
just like in real life. And that's why
they get a nice little painting on the side of a street. You get a law named out of somebody.
2 months later, let's be for real.
Like,
yes.
And then they go out into the press and they have a conversation. And the police chief, not the chief, but he was the internal affairs dude. And he was like, oh yeah, they have this conversation and now they're going to forgive each other. Cops say, yeah, Keith, I'm sorry. And Keith is just like,
okay.
And the internal affairs dude is like, aren't you going to apologize? He was like, for what?
And not to mention the cop never said sorry to Keith when it was just them two. He waited until the cameras came out and then was like, I'm sorry for what I did. And it's like
Keith was like, let's go back inside and finish this conversation. And he had a hard time. That's when they had the hard.
That's when they had like,
was this really
all
just
a
publicity stunt? Like for real?
And the cop was like, yeah.
I want my son to like me again.
Yeah, so Keith has such a badass moment.
Talk about petty, man, and I love it.
So the
this
cop
is definitely my wife.
So the cop pulled out the whole, we're under attack out there. We have seconds to determine what's a weapon and what's not. First of all, you carry around a gun every day.
Bleep.
You know what a gun is versus a cell phone or a stapler.
And Keith had that moment. He was like, you're being attacked? You go out every day and you're being... Okay, cool. Cool.
So Keith was like, if you have to assess dangers and what could be a weapon, could this pint of beer be a weapon? And he was like, if it's used with the intention to harm, yes. So Keith dips his finger in the beer. He's like, huh, okay. And it was like, flicks it on the cop. He's like,
don't do that.
Keith does it again.
Like, does your person feel like it's in danger? Me, when I first saw it, I thought he flicked him. And I was going to be like, that's my level of petty right there.
Nah, he took
like,
the gun.
I will be.
He took the beer and was just like,
he just took the little droplets of beer on his finger. I was like, how do you feel threatened? Is this a threat on your person? And yes, Keith ended up going to jail.
Keith, but it was fucking worth it.
Oh, it was worth it.
It was
like, you could see it on his face. He was dealing with. He was like, damn, I messed up again. What's that? No, that was worth it.
He like went through all the emotions. Like, oh, I'm in jail. He's like, wait, nah, I'm in jail for flicking off a cop.
Yeah.
I'm good with this.
Keith is also having another dilemma because he's sleeping with a white chick now.
Keith doesn't see that as a dilemma.
No, but they didn't touch on it.
They didn't
I like how they didn't touch on it, but they also, I thought at least Clovis would have touched on the fact that is this kind of, excuse me, I'm just messed up in the head, but is this kind of revenge?
Like,
is this a little revenge?
So
and like, it's not just your normal everyday on the side of the street in New York a white chick. No,
she's
this is from the motherland of your white people.
Straight English accent, all that. So the last thing I want to touch on in this part of the review, and then next week we'll touch on all the different relationship dynamics, because the show is not all police brutality and how black people deal with it. It has so many more aspects to it.
But we definitely wanted to get that out of the way first.
Yes. So this last part, and this is what was extremely triggering for me. Like, I had to I was like, breathe through it. It's okay.
Oh yeah, it took us 3 days to watch 8 episodes.
And we can crush 8 episodes in a day. So this last thing. So there's a scene on the bus. Clovis, Keith, and Gunther are on their way somewhere. I forgot where they were going, but they took the bus to get there. And it's a whole lot of different people on the bus. There's this there's
some Asian kids, a different plethora of kids, different races.
Yes, they had like some evangelist door-to-door people. There was
old Asian lady.
You
had a businessman. You had a crazy person in the back.
And then there was like this dude dancing. So dude was dancing on the bus, making tips, earning money. People was like giving him money for everything. Then the crazy man in the back, who literally like still had his gown on, looked like he just was released from the mental institution. He was going around with his little cup, like trying to collect coins, and everybody was silent. Nobody was making eye contact with him. Everybody was
fixing their face some type of way.
Yes. So while everybody's on their phone, they see that this koala has escaped from the zoo.
Harambe all over again.
They see that this koala has escaped from the zoo, and
traffic stops.
Everything stops. Like, everything stops. So, Keith's like, young. Oh, he was on his way to meet the lawyer. He had one free appointment with his lawyer.
Yes.
So.
Not his girlfriend lawyer, another lawyer, because he wasn't talking to his girlfriend at this point.
Nah, they broke up. So Keith was like, yo, like, I got somewhere to be. Right? Like, so Keith was like, y'all, I got somewhere to be. Like, can't we move this along? And everybody's like, no, they're out looking for the koala. We have to stop traffic and stop all this because it's a koala on the loose.
And this is, the city loves this koala. Like I said, it's Harambe all over again.
So, everybody kind of like goes back to normal. The crazy man goes sit down in the back. And everybody kind of goes back to normal. And then they're like, oh, they found the koala. But apparently, like, the police choked the koala out. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. They had
this whole moment. Keith made up this whole lie. Oh, this koala's a coder. This, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And they were like, he's a coder. He
and
then
it just like spread like wildfire.
And Keith was like, dude.
It truly goes to show how quickly misinformation spreads on the internet. Because 1 minute Keith made up
an entire lie,
entire lie about the koala being able to code and being extremely smart, and then like 2 minutes later, after they were talking about how the koala got choked out, they were like, "Oh, he was such a good koala. He knew how to code.
He was so smart. You worked. I made that up.
Like, but everybody on the internet like saw it and went with it.
The part I think you're gonna touch on next.
So after they
killed the koala,
so many things. I'm trying to like break it down. So after the police killed the koala. After the police killed the koala, they had first the video was going around. So Gunther, being the white dude, was like, "Oh my gosh, y'all gotta see this video." Like, everybody's like sharing this video of this koala being choked out, dying. And then Keith and Clovis was just like, "Nah, I don't want to see the video." I don't need to see this. Like, Clovis is sitting head down, not on his phone, like not interacting with it at all.
Because he know Keith is about to freak. Like,
it's not even about that. It's not even about that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off. But it's about the fact that, like, after you see one black person being shot, being choked out, and their video being spread, you don't want to see that so many times.
So where I was going was that Clovis was trying to stop Gunther from showing Keith, because he knew Keith just went through this and how triggering this was. And then lo and behold, Keith glimpses it and sees it, and flashback time. He triggered all over again. And he is legitimate because I've had these attacks. He's legitimately having a panic anxiety attack. And like, everything is closing in, everything is spinning around him. He's trying to get out the bus, which the dang on bus driver won't open the door because the cops say you can't leave because they're looking for this koala.
And then on top of that, after they share the video of the koala being murdered he didn't want to see it, they were like, "Oh, they started to GoFundMe for the koala." And literally every single person on that bus, when 2 minutes ago they didn't have money
to give to this
to give to the crazy man.
They called him Crazy Man in the show.
That's like his name in the credits. So they didn't have money. Like they weren't gonna give
to the Crazy Man when they heard this. And he's just like defeated.
Like, and everybody's dishing out money to this koala. So finally, it's later in the afternoon. They done missed. Keith has missed his appointment at this point. Like, he just wants to get off this bus and go home. He has his anxiety attack where, like, again, he's in an enclosed space. Everything feels like
even worse. Now he's around people and everybody can see this.
And everybody's like seeing him, like, "Dude, like, what's wrong with you?" And he's like, "No, like, I need to get out this bus."
And when you're having this, you legitimately can't put these things in the world, especially when you don't have the tools to put them in the world. Especially when this is new to you. It's like, you can't tell people what's wrong with you when you're in the middle of being wrong
with you. Like, so finally they get off the bus, go about their day. They're on their way back home. And then Keith sees this vigil that people are holding for the koala. And that
was it.
It's legitimately justice for a koala. And this is so wrong. Police need to be held accountable.
I'm glad they did this because this would legitimately happen. There was somebody with a whole poster with a bunch of black names that just got shot and killed by cops.
And then the koala was up there with them.
And as if it's bottom of that list, it was a freaking koala.
As if that's the same thing. So, like,
yeah, he lost it again.
I would have lost it. Like, because it's just like, and it truly hurts, but it truly honestly goes to show how the media portrays like a black person being murdered, a human being versus an animal, and how people are so up in arms and feel so convicted about an animal. But like, and Keith kind of got up on the stage with the microphone and was like, "Y'all care about a koala. What about all these people? More than you care about me as a black person." Like, he legitimately said that. He was like, this koala could have been me. This koala has been me. This koala, like, and y'all care about this koala more than y'all care about an everyday person.
For a little animal. Like, that shouldn't have been here in the first place. Let's be honest. Koalas aren't native to this.
To New York or wherever the show is. Like,
so.
So yeah. So like, yeah.
Woke is a special show. Y'all.
It is.
It was great I'm glad it came out now during quarantine where people can sit and go through and feel your feelings for this show,
and then
watch
have discussions
the show
about it
and have discussions.
Yo,
about it.
please watch Woke on Hulu.
Woke,
like, they not even sponsoring us. We just love this show and we need y'all to watch it. Like,
I really
it's
think
so good.
More of the black community needs to watch this show.
Absolutely, but
like,
take your time with it.
Oh yeah,
like
please,
I said,
please don't try to crush it in 4 hours, because
No.
you're not. You're going to be triggered. Yeah,
definitely.
I believe the show has a trigger warning, like the first episode.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Like, please watch the show. Like,
Watch it.
if not, to have a conversation just to understand like the different aspects of this entire situation.
And that's the thing. There are so many different moving parts and so many different ways that
And it shows how many
things happen.
how many different ways people deal with this. Like, even in the
That
show,
too.
like his girlfriend had to deal with it like vicariously because he didn't come home. The white chick he's sleeping with had to deal with it because she threw on a Black Lives Matter shirt and he freaked the freak out.
Yeah. No, it was a Black People for Rent shirt.
Black people, right? Oh, like,
that's
another
next
reason
episode.
why I leave like Keith, because he is dangerous. Like, he doesn't care anymore. Like, once he gets a platform and he's like, all right, bet I'm gonna be damn it. Y'all want me to be bet.
Yep.
Bet that.
Yep.
I already ruined my career. What else do I gotta lose?
Man. And then
So yeah, he made this whole Black People for Rent campaign, and it was basically a social experiment.
And people legitimately were taking white people legitimately
Like, it
were
had
taking
one of
his
those
number
terror call
and was
in.
like, hey, what's y'all rates? Like,
At first it was your racist. Then it was your companies looking to hire Black people to pan out their pictures.
yep.
And then
Diversify their portfolios.
Black people started calling and it was like, hey, where can I sign up for?
Can I get a job?
Dude on the street wearing a shirt, and he stopped Keith and was like, yo, can I sign up for this somewhere? Keith was genuinely, he was like,
yep.
you want to be for?
Yep.
Call the number. Just call the number.
Yep.
Tell him what you want to say.
And then it was so many voicemails. Okay, we gotta cut it because we're gonna keep going.
Watch the show.
We will have part 2 next week. Please join us as we dive into some of the other aspects of this show.
Yes.
Such a good show. I love it.
This has been
the Adult Deck Podcast. Thank you for joining us this week while we discussed woke and our feelings on the semi-current climate of things. Please join us next week. Next week will be a lot lighter. Next week we're going to go into the different friends, relationships, those aspects of things in the show.
The B and C plots.
Yes.
Oh, excuse me.
Piggy.
It's been real, y'all.
Bye.
Hey everybody, co-host Peter here. Just wanted to stop by and let you all know that if you like this video, you can check out the weekly check-ins and look out for our vlogs, which are coming soon. Also, here at the Adult Deck playlist, check out last week's episode and the full run of season 1. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified. Be easy.